The 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
Is brought to you by All Pro Roofing. AllProRoofingLLC.com on 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it.
All right. Hey, ho, ho. Do we have a gift pack to give away?
My man is an emotional wreck. Yes, we do, Dan.
I'm beaten down.
I know, man. What happened with your Knicks last night?
They lost too. The Rangers scored at the buzzer to beat the Sabres. That was a nice dub. 5-4. Thank you.
There you go.
We got something special. Something special's happening at the Garden. I may be up there for the Cup Finals.
As they say in hockey,
Yes.
Let's do that hockey.
Well, for today's 10-minute drill giveaway,
That I'm wondering if we're going to make a bid on the Japanese outfielder today. That's my life.
everybody thinks their team's going to get on it. It's going to be in the Mariners. Stay tuned at the end of the 10-minute drill.
Yeah.
We'll hook one Guggen up just in time for everybody's driving for the holidays. Give you a chance to get your oil change on us. You'll get a free oil change certificate from Tire Outlet.
All right. Isn't that pleasant? And wonderful.
Boom.
All right. So Dan Mullen gets axed. No surprise. I would have waited till next week, but, the University of Florida can never do anything right. So, and then Dan Mullen was given the, quote, option to coach the FSU game. He declined, saying he'd be a distraction. I figured, I haven't coached in 4 weeks. Why should I coach this week? Ba-dum-bum.
Hey, that was good, Dan.
I know. I mean, we all saw it coming. If you look at it outside the program, it does, you're like, oh gosh, you have a bad year. But there's no.
You got to keep turning over stones until you get the guy who can make you what you've proven you can be.
Well, I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's how you finish that sentence.
Yeah. There's no positivity in the program either. Recruiting is a mess. They get a coach. Now, here's the one thing I'll say about Scott Strickland. He damn sure better know who he's getting already.
The rumor is, and again, these rumors fly at this time when it first happens. Everybody knows something for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But a rumor I've seen on a couple of different fronts from like the fan or somebody who knows somebody or even a couple of journalists placed in the state is that Bob Stoops would be more interested than you think. That's the rumor. Now, whether or not that has been conversations already or, Spurrier is part of that, machine, I don't know. But
I'm not going down that road again with Bob Stoops until Bob Stoops
I
lets
get
me
it.
know
I'm
he
just
wants to coach.
of course.
The birdies have told me it's Billy Napier's job to turn down.
Yeah, it's so funny because
And that if not, then they would turn their attention to Luke Fickell. Those are the two names that are up above
I don't like that.
me for and that I'm here. I would love Billy Napier. Our 1-to-1 financial poll question of the day, part 1. We already did the Jags. Who do you want to replace Dan Mullen? Here are your choices. Billy Napier, Lane Kiffin, Luke Fickell, or Bob or Mark Stoops. I gave you double Stoops on that
I
one.
think that, look,
Who do you want?
in spite of out of that group,
Yeah.
it's just not even close. It's Bob Stoops. If he's available and wants a job, he's 61. He recruits his butt off. He knows the state. He's got a working relationship with the family there already. He's won an national. He checks every box. Now the thought is that guy's not getting back into coaching.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I don't. I'm like you. I'm dubious. We've gone down that Bob Stoops wormhole, but I guess every couple of years, if a big job comes open, he's going to be asked about it.
733 votes, 41.5 want Lane Kiffin. Here's my one caution about Lane Kiffin. One of the biggest criticism of Dan Mullen is he can't recruit.
Kiffin's not a great recruiter.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't
it ain't
know.
like Ole Miss is locked and loaded,
Well, he
okay?
just got there though.
Where
are they? Where are they?
38th.
So okay, yeah, he's not.
It's
Tougher sell, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
But the Napier guy, the more I read, the more I like. And again, is it a gamble? Of course it is. Just like it would be a gamble when Georgia hired Kirby Smart, who had no head coaching experience, and that worked. So you just never know.
The only problem with it's the historical context of a guy like Napier getting a job like that concerns me. I can't think of one that hit.
And what is that?
You know who it is? That's even a lower level. I can't think of one that hit.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Tressel, who went from Youngstown State, right? And he
Yeah.
goes from like a small division. Now I'm saying, tell me the guy from that MAC, Conference USA, that level, who got a premier job, a top 10 job, and it worked. I can't think of any. I can think of a lot that got those
Well, I'm
jobs.
sure there are. I mean, Urban came from Utah.
Well, but that would be the equivalent of Urban going from Bowling Green to Florida. He went to Utah.
Which would have worked.
Maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
it might have.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm just
leery of
everything
that.
I've read under Napier so far is positive. Now, I'm wondering why LSU. Now, I know the LSU AD likes to make a big splash. So he must be going. He was probably
Lincoln
chasing
Riley.
Jimbo and Lincoln Riley and I don't know who, Jimmy Johnson, who, But I'm saying, I'm wondering if there'll be a tug of war between LSU and Florida for Napier. That could be happening.
There's a lot of people that think Napier is going to land more at the Virginia Tech level.
Well, if Florida offered, wouldn't you take Florida?
Yeah, Florida. Yeah, if Florida. But
Why would you take Virginia Tech if you've turned down the other
if
SEC
I'm Florida,
schools?
why am I hiring a coach from Louisiana?
Because he checks almost all the boxes but one. Who else are you going to hire? Okay, give me another name that you would rather have besides Billy Napier. You'd rather have Lane Kiffin than Billy Napier?
Well, I'd have to absorb a lot of things, like as you said, the recruiting. But where's Billy Napier's recruiting rankings? How do we know how he does as a recruiter?
That's fair.
But he hasn't beaten Texas A&M this year and LSU this year,
Right.
like Lane has.
Right.
So yeah, I would take Lane Kiffin over Billy Napier.
Okay.
I would be, but I don't want Lane Kiffin. Scares me.
Yeah.
I'll give you a couple of names.
Yeah.
All right, Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn, I think, would be a great recruiter.
Well, I would say this then. If you're going to hire Dan Quinn,
Uh-huh.
then go hire Gus Bradley.
I would much rather have Dan Quinn than Gus Bradley. I mean, Dan Quinn went to a Super Bowl. Gus Bradley was toileted.
Dan Quinn went to a Super Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, went to a Super. He took an NFL team to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think Dan Quinn's a real good coach. And here's another name. Why don't we hear this name surfacing? Joe Brady. Where's his name in all these talks?
Joe Brady would be a candidate, I would think. He's an awful young guy.
Offensive coordinator at Carolina, who,
Yeah.
we gave a lot of credit to LSU, but the more
Yes.
you watch Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase
Yeah.
and Joe Burrow, I mean, you could put a headset on a monkey, and that
Yeah.
offense would have scored 50. But,
Yeah.
but again, those are just a couple names that, to me, I'm surprised we don't
I
hear.
would say this, too, about the University of Florida. At some point, they've got to decide, too, what they want to be. I for one, and again, understand this, and I've said, and you'll agree with me on this. I've said this for years now. Years. I used to say
I agree
this
with
when
much, if not most.
okay. When the facilities when we weren't in the arms race.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get in the arms race. You don't win arms races, but you got to compete. You just have to.
When you say arms race, you mean building
Facilities.
Taj Mahals for your players.
For your players. I mean, you have to. And in this day and age,
Theirs is it not opening in spring?
it's opening soon, but coming soon to a theater near you.
But isn't it going to be
In
like
end-
the biggest and nicest of all the
No.
ones that have come along?
No. It's
Nothing
going to
like
be
that?
it's going to be just like everybody else's, which is fine. But it's not going to be the biggest and best of them all. No, it's not. So, Dan Mullen, in some respects, was a bridge to getting back to even in terms of facilities, a bridge coach who wasn't that good of a recruiter anyway. So, in that respect, it made it doubly hard for him.
And by the way,
Mm-hmm.
he's bottomed out here, and so many of you have personal animus with Dan Mullen.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a punchable face to many of Gator Nation. You just don't like the guy. You don't like the way he walks. You don't like the expressions on his face. But
Why are you the way that you are?
right? He did a good job at Florida.
Yeah.
We were terrible. We hadn't had a quarterback to complete a pass in
Yeah.
10 years.
He had a good 3 years.
Well, then that's important
Yeah.
from where we were.
Yeah.
And the coaches that we were coming off of.
Yeah. But I definitely thought the program was trending in the wrong
Well,
direction.
they had a one-year trend. I think what is learned from this, whoever the next coach is,
Mm-hmm.
this is the reality of the University of Florida. You have a 3-year plan, and then you can never go below the ceiling of that third year.
I don't agree with that.
I do.
I think that's just real cut and dried that you're saying. I think there are other circumstances, mitigating circumstances that led to Dan Mullen's departure.
Well,
I think Dan
certainly,
Mullen,
yeah.
and by the way, quite frankly, if, for example, I'll take you back a month. If Dan Mullen had simply done what he was supposed to do and, I don't know, beat South Carolina and beaten Mizzou.
Right. And
instead-
Kentucky. You should have beat Kentucky.
Well, not even Kentucky.
Well,
if at the
yes,
point,
even Kentucky.
no. If at the point where they were, and he won those 4 games, these 4 games that are going on now, if he had won these 4 games, he would have been back next year. He would have been 8-4, and everybody would have been, we'll see. And there would have been beating the drum. There would have been some negativity. But he would have got every opportunity to keep going forward.
He could have listened to me.
So-
it's clear this is as much personality as anything. Because you could have very easily kept him. It would have gone away. You were going to give him a year, blah, blah, blah.
That's what I
He's
just
earned
said.
that. Right, yeah. So, yeah,
But
he's unlikable.
Once he kept losing these games,
Yeah.
it became more magnified.
But my point is, even with these losses, it would not have been a tough sell to say, yeah, we're going to stay the course with our coach for another year, but he better bounce back.
Correct.
It would have
But
gone
you just
away
said
pretty
if you
quickly.
don't win, if you go back,
That's the
you're
new
fired.
standard.
No, it's not.
Well,
no, it's not.
you talk to me.
I disagree.
You tell me.
All right.
You find me a coach in his 4th year that has a 500 record, and you let me know what you're saying about that coach. I don't think you're thinking it out. If we hire any coach,
he has a 500 record now for sure. Yes,
Okay.
I'm saying if had he won those 4 games, he would still be the coach.
Okay, but he didn't.
Right. Which magnified everything and forced his ousting.
Okay, I don't know how the next coach in year 4 gets to 5 and 6. What I'm telling you is, if he does, he'll be fired. That's my point.
Oh, most likely
right.
he would be.
So I will stick
Yeah,
by.
you should not go 5 and 6
You've
in
got
Florida, ever.
You've got a 3-year.
You should be able to roll a football out and be better than 5 and 6.
Okay, you've got a 3-year plan when
Which
you go
is
to
about to be
Florida.
5 and 7,
okay,
by the way.
You got a 3-year plan, and then that 3-year seal. You better not go believe that 3-year plan ceiling. Can only stay there or get better going.
I think there's sometimes circumstances that will allow a coach to hang on and make it through a year like that.
But
Dan Mullen didn't have anything working in his favor.
And nor will the next coach who's 5 and 6 in year 4.
I
he won't
disagree.
either.
I disagree. If they have the number 1 recruiting class coming in, or
if he's 5 and 6,
a
he
top
probably
3
won't.
recruiting, right? That's also fair. But anyway, with all that said, I have no problem with the desire to fire Dan Mullen. But I will say this: at some point, the University of Florida, what is their goal? Do you want to be Vanderbilt?
I think
that's where you're headed. Do you want to be Stanford? That's
not what he said yesterday.
We celebrate being a top 5 university, which is all well and good. Whoop-de-freaking-do. I don't care. I don't want to be a top 5 university. I want Florida kids at Florida. I want Gator fans at Florida. I want kids who care about the program at Florida. And I want a commitment, unlike anything else, to the flagship university's athletics program. I personally, and again, I say this as a sports fan and a graduate, but as a sports fan, I don't give a damn about being a top 5 university. And maybe that's wrong of me, and maybe you're shaking your head. That's fine. I respect you. But for me, I don't care. I want to go back to watch the number 3 football team. I've told you a million times, I don't want to go back to see the best chemistry building in all the land. I don't care. I don't care. I want a great sports program. That's what I want. That's why I give money to the University of Florida, for sports, for athletics. I don't want you taking the money and turning around and building a new building. I want you staying in the arms race. I want you improving football. I want you paying more. Now, with all that said, I also have a problem on the flip side with all these ridiculous buyouts and such. Those are the dumbest things ever. But that's a common thread in college football. But I think the University of Florida at some point has to decide, man, look, let's be what we used to be, man. Let's get the Florida kids in here. I'm tired of, somebody said, and I got to look this up because I don't know this to be true, but somebody said on our program last week, 15% of incoming freshmen are only from the Sunshine State, while at Georgia it's like 70%. You got a little more pride, a little more pep in your step, where if you're from Florida and you go to Florida and you grow up a Gator fan, and you're more apt to stick around and be part of it just doesn't make sense to me. But that's neither here or there. But at some point, that part of it has to be figured out as well, because this part of it, as far as football, ain't working.
Well, I'll give you this too. Even with the success, this inherent where you're born and raised, you're a fan of that team is long gone with the social media. And you can live in Opelika, Florida, Dan, and you go on your iPad and you can be sitting in Tuscaloosa or anywhere in the country. I mean, it's all right there.
Yeah.
I don't feel this. Just the population growing and the game having changed, as used to be back in the day. A lot larger percentage of kids stayed in their home state.
Now, I told you I went to the Alabama game and sat in the student section, and I dispelled the myth that those kids are all brilliant. They're a bunch of dummies, is what they are.
Is that right?
Yeah, I sat there, so I don't know how this talk of you got to have a 1,500 on your SAT and a 4.6 GPA. Bottom line is this, and again, this. I'm not saying this out of bitterness or angst, because
you don't want to build a wall around the university, do you?
My daughter,
Florida only.
My daughter went to Florida. My son did not. My son did not want to go to Florida, so it's not like. But I have many friends whose kids grew up Gators, who did everything they were supposed to do in high school, who had a, 3.8 GPA and scored 1,300 on the SAT.
And they don't get in.
Which is plenty good enough
Yeah.
to go to the University of
Sure.
Florida, and they can't get in.
Right, because
that
they've
ain't right.
they
That's
take some
stupid.
biology major from Connecticut.
Right.
Or from across the world somewhere.
Well, again,
Yeah, it's wrong.
but
We
you
lived
got to
through
have
that,
a
too.
better mix than
My daughter had to start 6 months late. She should have never had to. If you graduated from the University of Florida and your kid's got a 3.5, they should be in.
If you do
I'm
what
sorry,
you're
that's
supposed to
baloney.
do, you ought, now that's just a small. And by the way, FSU's sort of headed down that road as well. It's tough to get into FSU nowadays too. So, but anyway, I'm all for Sunshine State kids staying in the Sunshine State, baby. That's all I'm trying to say.
Especially when you're really good football players, kids.
And if you're a really good football player, you must. Go to games.
Well, look at this, Dan.
Yeah.
Seriously, we've had 3 or 4 of the top prep players in the city come in here.
Yeah, and none of them even mentioned Florida.
None of them are State or Florida State or Miami.
Yeah.
They're going to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They're going to Ohio State. They're
Yeah.
going to Georgia.
Yeah.
No, it is a look. It'll be interesting when the book comes out, right?
Yeah.
When the dirt is dished on what exactly, because it'll come out what exactly was going on behind the scenes in Gainesville. It's going to be ugly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a personal as much as it was a professional decision. I feel like.
Anyway, so Mullen's gone. We're going to keep talking about that. We'll get back to the Jags. Big Bo on at 8.
Yeah.
That is the plan.
We got Breakfast with Baselli just around the corner. We got FSU Florida this week. By the way, wave the white flag on that. I feel I'm a little ticked at Dan Mullen for not doing the game, by the way. I mean, those are a lot of seniors there, been with him for 4 years, and I feel like he kind of turned his back on those kids, and left them out there to twist in the wind while he gets his $12 million check. Suck it up and work another week, Danny. Caller number 3, Beef, tell them what they're going to win.
Caller number 3 right now going to get set for their holiday travels with a oil change certificate from our friends at Tire Outlet. Just be caller number 3 right now at 641-1010.